So you might have seen the news floating around. Joe Don Baker, the veteran action star, passed away May 7th, 2025. He was 89.
Yeah, quite a long career, and definitely a name that rings a bell for a lot of film fans.
Absolutely. And, beyond just the headline saying actor dies, we wanted to dig in a bit, really look at what made his work stick, what those key moments were.
Right, go past the quick summary.
Exactly. So think of this as a guided tour through his career, focusing on the roles and the impact he had. We're looking at the news reports covering his life and career naturally.
And our goal, really, is to unpack what was significant for you, the listener.
What's interesting right off the bat, I think, is how he managed to have this really consistent sort of presence on screen.
Even across different kinds of roles, different genres.
Yeah, it's not just about ticking off film titles. It's about getting at, the core of why he appealed to people, his contribution.
The essence of his screen persona, maybe.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. He was born in Groesbeck, Texas, way back in 1936.
And interestingly, he didn't jump straight into acting. Studied business first.
Right. Quite a shift to the tough guy as we remember him as.
Yeah.
But apparently, the acting bug bit.
Seems like it. He ended up training at the Actors Studio in New York. Pretty prestigious.
Yeah, and even did some Broadway before hitting the screen. And the news reports, they flag a couple of early roles that really started getting him attention. Junior Bonner in 72 with Steve McQueen.
Good company there.
And then playing this pretty chilling mob hitman in Charlie Varick the next year, 73.
Those definitely feel like foundational roles. Starting to build that image.
They were crucial, yeah. You start seeing that rugged, no-nonsense thing emerge.
What's interesting is even when he wasn't the main star, he could really hold your attention. Command the scene.
True. Maybe Junior Bonner showed a slightly different side. But Charlie Varick.
That definitely ramped up the intensity he had. That sort of underlying threat.
And then, bang.
Yeah.
1973. Walking Tall.
Ah, yes. The big one.
This is the film everyone mentions, isn't it? The one that really kind of locked him into film history.
Absolutely. Playing Buford Pusser.
This real-life sheriff, described as a, quote, relentless lawman who fought crime with a wooden club.
Yeah, wooden club sounds almost like a folk hero.
It does. What do you think made that role, that film, just explode the way it did?
Well, the timing seems incredibly important. The news report points this out. Its connection with audiences right in the middle of the Watergate era.
Okay, right. So, disillusionment.
Exactly. Think about what people were feeling then. A sense of corruption, maybe institutions letting them down.
And along comes Buford Pusser.
This apparently incorruptible guy, standing up against it all. It's easy to see the appeal, that desire for a strong moral figure to, root for.
So a great good guy.
In a time that felt very gray.
And it wasn't just like a cultural thing. It made serious money.
A phenomenal success.
Apparently made pretty cheaply, budget-wise.
Yeah.
But it pulled in around $40 million back then.
Which, as the article notes, is like well over $600 million today.
That's staggering. Just incredible ROI.
Right. And the director, Phil Carlson, apparently put it down to exactly that. Audiences needing that kind of strong moral character.
It makes perfect sense.
It really shows how powerful a story and a character can be, doesn't it, if it taps into what people are feeling?
Yeah, you don't always need the massive budget. Sometimes it's just the right story, right time, right character.
Precisely. That connection is key.
Okay, so leaping forward a bit. Quite a jump, actually. James Bond.
A very different universe.
He plays the villain, Brad Whitaker, this arms dealer in The Living Daylights. That was 87.
It is interesting, isn't it? Going from that very American, grounded lawman
Yeah, almost mythic.
to a classic Bond villain.
Yeah.
What does that say about his range, you think?
Well, it shows versatility, definitely, even within that sort of tough guy mold.
He could be the hero, but he could flip it and be convincingly menacing as the bad guy, too.
And what's really unusual, he comes back to Bond later.
Right. Not as a villain, though.
No, as CIA agent Jack Wade in GoldenEye and then Tomorrow Never Dies.
Which is quite rare in the Bond world, playing two different significant characters. That's an interesting little footnote.
It is. The article also mentions another big role, this time on TV, Darius Jedbrough in the BBC miniseries Edge of Darkness.
Ah, 1985. Highly acclaimed series.
And he got a BAFTA nomination for it. So that suggests, real acting chops beyond just the action stuff.
Absolutely. Edge of Darkness was pretty complex. Political thrillers, environmental themes. quite sophisticated for the time.
And his role?
Jedro was another CIA agent, but a very different kind. More complex, intelligent, maybe conflicted. It showed a different kind of intensity.
More internal, perhaps?
Yeah, less about the physical, more about the weight of knowledge, the inner turmoil. It really showcased his depth.
So beyond those really standout roles, the reports list quite a few others. The Outfit, The Natural.
Cape Fear, the remake, Mars Attacks.
Right, and even more recently, Mud in 2012.
He kept working.
And TV, too. He had his own series for a bit, Ice Guide. Appeared in the Heat of the Night, Fletch.
It paints a picture of a real working actor building a long career, not just flashing brightly with one role.
Even in something like The Natural, playing the Whammer, he brought that kind of intensity, that competitiveness.
Exactly. So Walking Tall was maybe the defining role, the most iconic.
For sure.
But it wasn't the only thing. He built this substantial career around characters who were often, strong-willed, maybe a bit abrasive, definitely authoritative.
Yeah, not guys you'd easily push around.
Not at all.
The article just touches briefly on his personal life. Married once to Maria Dolores Rivero Torres, and survived by family back in Texas in Groesbeck. His funeral set for Tuesday out in California.
All right, brings it to a close.
And thinking about the whole career, that tough guy label the article uses, it really does feel like the common thread, doesn't it?
It does. Whether he was the sheriff, the Bond villain, the CIA agent, there was always that core of strength, resilience.
Yeah, and it's still kind of amazing to think about Walking Tall. Tiny budget, huge impact.
Culturally and financially, yeah.
It just underscores how a really compelling character hitting the right nerve at the right time
can totally transcend its origins. It reminds you that powerful filmmaking isn't always about the biggest budget or the fanciest effects.
Sometimes it's about tapping into something real in the audience.
That connection, that resonance.
So wrapping up this deep dive then, Joe Don Baker definitely left his mark on action cinema. Walking Tall is the icon, no question.
Unforgettable role.
But his Bond roles, Edge of Darkness, they show there was more to him than just the one character type.
Demonstrated a broader range.
And ultimately, it seems his characters, Mamie Buford-Pusser, most clearly, really connected with people who are looking for those strong, maybe straightforwardly moral figures. Especially during unsettled times.
Which brings us to a final thought, maybe something for you, the listener, to mull over. How do these portrayals we see on screen, law, justice, strength, morality, how do they actually reflect the times they're made in?
Or maybe even influence them.
Or influence them, yeah. It's that interplay. Are there other actors, other films you can think of that show that connection between screen portrayals and the wider social or political climate?
That's a good question. It's something to chew on as you think about Joe Don Baker's career and his legacy.